All right, it is 1:30. We are getting ready to kick this off here. Pretty excited about this one. We've got a good friend of ours joining from Lancaster Wings, Buffalo Wild Wings, franchise of Buffalo Wild Wings. Today's webinar is how wing franchises are driving profits in 2025. Excited to have everyone joining here. I know we got a lot of people coming in, but we are going to kick this off right now. Just so everyone knows, we are recording this webinar, and everyone that has registered this week will get the webinar sent to them in their email. Put any questions you have in the chat. We already have some that were sent in. We're going to try to hit them kind of first come, first serve. If we don't have enough time to connect with all the questions, we will have Dave answer those, and then we'll send them out in the email when they come out. Today we've got two guests. We've got Austin, Senior Director of Strategic Growth here at BarTrack. And then we have David Chetkauskas. I always get nervous when I say your last name, David. But David is the regional manager at Lancaster Wings, which is a franchise group of Buffalo Wild Wings. And so, David, maybe you could give the group here. I know we got a lot of people from the wing world joining us. Maybe you could give us a little bit background on Lancaster Wings, the company itself, and then also your role within that franchise group, as well as your hospitality experience.
Sure, Ian. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me here and getting a chance to share a little bit about our story. And you did great on the name, by the way. So thank you
Thank
there.
you.
Yeah, I've been in the business for about 35 years now. Restaurants was my first job. I served chips and salsa, a Mexican food place down in Phoenix, Arizona. And 35 years later, I'm in charge of five different franchise locations, Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm in charge of about $11 million in annual revenue total between the five. Um, Lancaster Wings, before I get into who we are, a little bit more about me. I've been in every position in the restaurants from a busser, cook, front of house, back of house, bar manager, service manager, general manager, kitchen manager, and then now regional manager. So I've definitely climbed the ladder through the
Absolutely.
ranks. I've scrubbed toilets and done every role in between then and now. So the gray hair and the less hair up here comes with a little bit of experience in the industry. So I'm very proud of what I've done, and it's a great business, and I wouldn't change it for the world. As far as Lancaster Wings, we are a franchise, as you mentioned, we're a franchisee for Buffalo Wild Wings, and we have 10 locations, seven of which are outside of the Columbus, Ohio area. Three are in Arizona. I manage the three locations here in Arizona, plus I've been asked to take on two in Ohio as well. Our owner is Larry Tipton, and we are a part of the Larry Tipton Restaurant Group. And Larry's been in the restaurant and hospitality industry for several years, and he recruited me to join his family 4 years ago. And it has been my first foray into the franchise world. It's always been corporate positions that I've been involved with in many companies from Red Robin, Red Lobster, Margaritaville. Uh, Back when I was younger, it was Caro's Coffee House and things like that. So it's always been corporate. This is my first run with the franchise side. And while it's very different, I can tell you it's not better, it's not worse. It's just very different. So it's a little bit about me. So, like I said, a lot of the things that I hope to share with you and the viewers today are come from a place of experience and school of hard knocks as well. So, I guess that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah, no, I love it, and I appreciate the background. I think, for those of us from the restaurant world, I think we all have that gradual growth. I started as a guy washing dishes, and then became the door guy and then a bartender, and then I ended up owning the bar that I bartended at, right? So everyone has their journey. David, for the people listening here, I'd like to kind of jump into the restaurant space and the trends that maybe Lancaster Wings has seen within the restaurant space. And what I mean by that is, I was watching TV the other day leading up to this webinar, and I saw there was an ad at Buffalo Wild Wings that all you can eat wings was back, right? And I got excited about this for two reasons. One reason, obviously, is I'm a big wing guy. I love wings. So the opportunity to go and eat as much as I possibly can is always an exciting thing. But it also kind of signaled like maybe this is the end of the COVID era, right? Because if wing prices are down low enough that we can get back to all you can eat wings, I feel like we're starting to get back to some normalcy. And so, maybe you could talk a little bit from a Lancaster perspective. What are the trends that you guys see, whether it's specials or programs that you're using to draw business back in or foot traffic back into the restaurants, or whether it's technology or a specialized beverage program or customer recognition program? What are the trends that you're seeing within the space currently right now that have been a success for you as a franchise group?
I'll tell you, Ian, that's a good question. And you're exactly right. Buffalo Wild Wings, over 1,200 locations nationwide, half franchise, half corporate run. But that's a lot of wings when you think about it. And the all you can eat promotion is what we like to call a value driven promotion. Buffalo Wild Wings has uh, never been really known for being the cheapest place, but we've always got a great selection and we've always got wings
Yep.
and having an endless supply of wings with the ad that you saw in our promotion, which currently runs to the end of to the middle of next week. So you got a little bit of time yet to get it.
Yep. Get in there.
A little shameless plug there. Sorry. Um, but the value driven promotions are really what our guests are looking for in this industry. I still find that guests will pay for great service. They'll pay for great food.
Mhm.
But you still have a definite segment of the industry out there that a segment of the population out there that wants that value. They
Mhm.
want to get what they're paying for.
Mhm.
And we've seen a lot of success with that from an insider's perspective. The all you can eat promotions, we hate to love them and we love to hate them.
Mhm.
Uh, they definitely bring some challenging guests when it comes to the all you can eat demographic,
Yeah.
but it also gives us an opportunity to get some new faces, people that really want that all you can eat opportunity that don't necessarily come and enjoy that kind of a promotion very often. But when they do, maybe they still haven't been into a B-dubs. And since the early 80s, it's hard to believe it. The people haven't been in, but we still encounter those new ones. And we wouldn't have those if it wasn't for the all you can eats. One of the other things you had asked about was what else we're seeing that is driving some traffic and some trends that we're finding success with. Buffalo Wild Wings recently underwent a very, very massive overhaul with the rewards program, which is basically a frequent diner program. It's free to join, and a lot of places are looking into some sort of a loyalty program, some sort of a frequent shopper, if you will, type program to where you can incentivize more visits. You can send what are called surprise and delight coupons through emails and text messaging and using social media platforms to where people can enroll in these different platforms or in these different arenas, and then they all get a free birthday dessert, or they'll get $10 off when you spend $20. They'll get varying coupons and things like that. Again, goes right back to what I talked about the value and
Yep.
making sure people are getting bang for their buck. But we had a very rudimentary app before and a very rudimentary system before with the rewards program for Buffalo Wild Wings. And I'm really proud of what they've done actually as far as the rewards program. They simplified it, made it easier to understand with rewards and different tiers and things like that for the guests to enjoy. And the more they dine, the better the promotions. And we started to add, we're going to be adding the opportunity to get to allow guests to purchase some beat up swag. Then they're going to get into maybe sports tickets and sporting events with certain amount of dining points that they earn by coming in. So really giving some good incentives for people to keep coming back as well. So I would say those two things, very good value driven promotions. Um, and really taking good care of your guests via different incentives and things like that are really a couple of key drivers that we're seeing at Buffalo Wild Wings.
It's great to hear.
Good. Well, David, to kind of get a little bit more specific, you mentioned a couple different things here. If you were to pick of those things, what has been the standout to being the most effective increase in bottom line? Where would you put, that?
That's a great question too, Austin. I would say, one of the things that I was told a long time ago when I got into this business and started getting into some leadership roles is some of the best advice I ever got was, take care of your people. And when you take care of your people, one of those elements of taking care of people is making sure that they have the tools to be successful. And when I talk about tools to be successful, it could be making sure your line cooks aren't turning ovens on with a pair of ice grips. It could be make sure your doors are working properly. It may seem really silly to say that, but it is very basic. People want to work in a place that they're proud of.
Right.
And the tools to be successful also include things like technology. I've seen certain things in the industry that have really been mind blowing in terms of technology. We've got servers that can take the order right at the table with your tablet, send it right to the kitchen, and it really dramatically decreases ticket times. It dramatically reduces errors in ordering. Just those kinds of technology advances that we see across the spectrum are really helpful. And again, that is one of those tools that gives your team the ability to do their job better and more efficiently. And so we've seen that tremendously in this industry over the last several years with the pay at the tables. And I was at some place the other day that they had a little QR code on your receipt that you just take a picture of the QR code and it takes you right to your total. You can pay right there with your phone, with your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet or whatever virtual payment thing. And your server doesn't come back. They drop that. It's just like you go, so you're not held hostage anymore. So those technology advances, if restaurant groups and restaurants aren't embracing change and embracing technology, they're going to be missed out. They're in no disrespect, they're going to become the Ruby Tuesdays. They're going to become the Sizzlers of the world. If you don't adapt, you will not survive. You cannot survive in this business. So I would say that some of our technology has been a huge driver for some of our success as well.
Okay. Now, I love to hear that. And I think you hit it right on the head. Technology has become ever more important in this industry. And it is one of somewhat archaic process. And I think we're coming into more of an age of being able to embrace it and operators like yourself really pioneering that. So, getting a little bit more specific, let's hone in on your beverage program and the trends there and technology there. I mean, how have you seen your beverage program be a revenue driver, but then also within that, the technology you're using to further drive those revenue opportunities?
Well, I'll tell you, it's in any restaurant, especially one that's really centered on bar cocktails, beers, things like that, that there's your profit margin. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. Everybody knows that the profit margin is behind that bar and in that keg cooler. And if you're not maintaining those numbers, and if you're not really honing and dialing in and really, really trimming off your waste behind that bar, you will not be profitable. There's not much profit in wings, to be honest with you. The profit comes from behind the bar. And by making sure that messaging is clear, not only to your managers, but your team as well. Every drop counts. Specifically, we're constantly monitoring reports. We're constantly monitoring our inventory levels. We're constantly monitoring waste. We're constantly using all the things that we have at our disposal to be able to make sure that we stay profitable. That profit margin is key behind that bar. We try to develop every so often the corporation comes up with what are called activations, and activations is just a new series of promotions and new drinks and things like that. And we try to really keep some new drink promotions going. We got right now we've got a tropical and Patron margaritas. We're coming out with all kinds of new beer mixtures and all kinds of fun flavors. So keeping things fresh and interesting behind that bar is definitely the way to keep those profits driving.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Well,
that's Oh, sorry, Austin, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're probably going to take the words right out of my mouth, Ian. So I'll let you go.
Well, I'm just curious on, you're talking about, new beverages and identifying these new activations. You'd mentioned that this is the beverage program is where you see your most margins. And if you're producing your most margins there, you obviously want to be the most efficient there, right? Can you maybe talk about how you guys have made yourself efficient in that area, whether it's streamlining inventory, whether it's ensuring that you're maximizing keg yields or the most out of the tequila bottle for your Patron margarita or whatever the case may be. How are you guys gathering that data, and then how are you communicating that data to the right people so that you can be effective and efficient within that beverage program?
Yeah, it really all starts in with education, right? It starts with the people who handle the product most. So with your bartenders, your cocktail servers, things like that, really identifying some of the behaviors that lead to a lot of waste. For example, if we're seeing a lot of liquor waste, or sometimes we'll see a lot of mix waste, lime sours and flavor mixes that aren't alcohol related, but are still very costly.
Mhm.
um, Typically what happens when we find waste like that, we'll see the build is incorrect for the bartender. They're not using enough ice. They're using they don't fill the ice all the way to the top, and so they use filler as a way to make the drink look full. So
Mhm.
it's really the behaviors, and honing in on the behaviors of those that touch the product most. Whether it's, there are some times where we've caught a keg that has been untapped, and because it for some reason stopped pouring, they'll untap it, tap the new one, and say it's empty, and you'll go shake a keg, and you'll be like, "Hey, there's still beer in here.
Yeah.
What happened?" And so it's really just being alert, being aware, being activating, really active within your team and how things are being used, wasted. If we're seeing too much foam from the taps, if we accidentally dropped a bottle of Patron and nobody logged it. Accidents happen, but you have to be aware, and team needs to know. Some advice I've gotten long before that I love is that if it's important to you, it's important to your team. So to make sure that they know that those profit margins. Now you don't need to get specific. Your bartender really doesn't care about your P&Ls and things. Your bartender just wants to know how they're going to get their money, right? But
Yep.
always tie the what's in it for them, right? Get the what's in it for your bartenders to be tight, to be diligent on that waste, to really look out for those numbers, and you'll really gain that wisdom that you can impart on your bartenders. You're going to really gain a lot of. They're going to gain that buy-in from your team.
Yeah, that's great. You did a little plug earlier on about your wing special. I want to do a little plug here on Bar Track. Could you maybe with everything you said there, because I think it's all great, right? You're talking about identifying these losses and ensuring that you're communicating that across the board. How has Bar Track helped you in that aspect in managing your beverage program, if you will?
Well, I will tell you, and I'm very happy to give you the shameless plug, because I'll tell you, Bar Track has been very critical for the success we've seen, especially in our Arizona locations, where we've really used it to a T. Um, the amount of support that you and your team have provided for us is probably second to none. I've seen a lot of other beer monitoring systems come and go. And contrary to Bar Track, they are wringing their hands at the potential of a sale, and then they get the sale, and then you ask for support, you need help, and they're gone. You don't know. It's pretty typical of a lot of vendors in this industry, right? With textiles and towels. They get you in a 3 to 5 year contract, and then trying to find your service rep is impossible.
Hmm.
But I will tell you, the support that we get from Bar Track, the training we've gotten from Bar Track, the reporting and the different modules, the ease of use of your platform, um, has really helped us identify a lot of those things that I just talked about. Waste. I think the probably one of the biggest things that we've seen that has helped us out tremendously is the amount of unrung items. Bar Track works perfectly with our POS systems, and Aloha is a very widely used platform. And as it integrates so well with that, we've used that specific line item in addition to the quality and the over pour, under pour features. That unrung has been a lifesaver for us because, as we well know in this industry, bartenders get busy, and the ring it and bring it philosophy goes right out the window when it's a UFC night and they got three deep at their bar and they're going crazy and they're just pouring beers and popping tops off and doing their thing. They forget to ring that stuff in. And highlighting that again, bringing that to their attention, making sure the management and leadership is engaged, which is what I do. I make sure my GMs know those reports, see those reports, study those reports. They pass that on to the bar managers and then pass it on, and we can dial down to the day, to the week, to the hour that we are not ringing things in and things. It's just been a tremendous asset, and I can't say enough about your product and, to be honest with you, the support that we get from your team.
Well, I appreciate that. We're gonna round things out here. I know we're kind of coming up close on time here, but there were a few questions that came across here. I'm gonna try to get to a couple of them if I can. But one of the questions I thought was interesting here is, what is a daily or weekly operational routine that have had the greatest impact on maintaining high performance at your locations?
One of the first location that comes to mind is my Bullhead City location. Our Bullhead City Buffalo Wild Wings has really done a great job embracing the Bar Track specific technology, the platform, keeping the information. There's a term that I use: garbage in, garbage out, when it comes to all things inventory. And Bar Track is no different. The system is only as good as the information you put into it. And if you maintain it, when you have your lines cleaned, when you have your kegs changed out, when you all those things, your inventory changes, when you change your draft beer, when you if you keep that information current in Bar Track, which is what my Bullhead City team has done,
Mhm.
it really does your inventory for you. It does your managing for you. It makes their job, which makes my job, infinitely easier when it comes to managing their waste. You look at the reports, and the locations that aren't using it to a T, they try to come up with every excuse in the book. Oh, well, the system's wrong. It's not, well, it's not tracking right. The system doesn't know. And well, there's great fail safes that you and your team have put in to say, yeah, it is tracking. Look at what Aloha says. Look at what your reports say. So
Mhm.
you've closed a lot of those loopholes for us, which is, I think, great for you because you have that experience in the industry because you knew the loopholes that they
Yep.
would say before they
I
even
was
said
the
them.
problem, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that, basically making sure that that system is accurate every day, consistent, and then weekly inventory is reviewed. Uh, Daily processes are, if your lines are cleaned, you got to make sure that you mark the daily your cleanings. You got to make sure your inventory. So it's all really based on daily, weekly processes that each operator has in place, right? If we do weekly inventory, making sure you're looking at your reports on a weekly basis. When you start to see trouble issues, BarTrack has the ability to dial it down by the day. And so the next day you come in, you can dial down, really drill it in. So it's really the question is about what regular processes that you go through. It really depends on the operators. But the nice thing about your system is that it is customizable to meet the operator's needs, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly.
No, that's great. That's great. I got two more here. I'm going to try to sneak in. I won't be able to get to all of them, but I thought
Sure.
this was a good one. How do you standardize service quality across staff and shifts, especially during high volume game days or events? I think they're asking. There's such a fluctuation sometimes where it might be a slow, Tuesday, but you got a basketball, NBA championship or a hockey game on or something like that that ends up packing that out. How are you standardizing your service across those kind of roller coasters of volumes?
Well, I think that's a super question, but I think that the answer is you have to plan. You've got
Mm,
to stay proactive. Um, the old terminology, you plan to fail, fail to plan.
yep.
And that's really true. If you're not staying ahead and you know when these events are coming, staff up, order up,
Mm,
and setting that bar with your team as a leader is so critical. and the consistent level of execution that you expect, inspecting what you expecting is so important. And living those standards every single day, when you talk about standardizing the level of service, let them know that it doesn't matter if you're if you're an empty house and you're transition between lunch and dinner and there's only 2 guests in the building, or if you're at a UFC and you've got 3 deep, the guests are there to expect a certain amount of service from your team. And then it goes right back into management. You have to be proactive. You have to take care of your team and give them the tools to survive and the tools to do their job properly. If you don't staff up for those UFC fights, if you don't put extra line cooks, if you don't put extra bartenders or servers or barbacks or in there, that's on the management and that's not on your team. So to be able to give them the tools that they need to do their job, the tools, like I mentioned earlier, could be the spatulas, could be the oven knobs. The tools are also coworkers. The tools are also staffing. So make sure you're staffed for those events so they can hold those standards that you've expected.
And I'm going to sneak this in because we're down to the wire here, but I think this is another great question, and I'm sorry for not getting to the other ones, but what are the top 2 to 3 KPIs you monitor either daily or that help you stay ahead of potential issues?
We have several indicators. We have our labor targets. Again, I'll kind of go back to our bar track reporting. If you stay proactive, we use, as a regional operations director, I never thought I'd see so many reports and emails in my entire life. I mean, you're overloaded with data and different data points. It's really overwhelming. So you really have to dial down. We use a program called See To It. There's a lot of reporting for our labor, a lot of reporting for our inventory. But then when you have some specific high dollar items, i.e. profit margin items like the bar, which is one of the reasons why we invested in a quality product like yours. We use a lot of your products and a lot of your reports. And when we use those are the ones that we use specifically, your weekly, daily reports, your analysis, your sales reports, things like that. Really, it's for me personally, we have several different avenues. However, I would say that the Aloha reports that we use quite a bit, a lot of POS terminal reports, things like that. There's a lot of data points that are out there, and just knowing and having to decipher which ones you could kind of set off to the side, but which ones are really driving your results. It's really customized for each individual, and I'd be happy to go into it for me specifically, but I know you said we're kind of getting down to the wire.
Yeah.
So
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that cuts it for time. I don't know if you have anything else, Austin.
No, I don't. I just want to thank Dave for his time, his continued support, and the partnership in which we've developed. And for those that are watching with us here today, whether you are current partners, we thank you as well, or those that are interested in learning some more, we'd be happy to pass on the same experience, same story in which you've heard here with Dave to the rest of you. I mean, we're a company that started in this industry before we got into the side of technology. As Ian mentioned, being the problems in our earlier ages, and a lot of us even running restaurants and bars to the same capacity at which Dave did. So we just want to appreciate everyone for joining here today on behalf of Bar Track. Dave, thank you again, and we'll leave it at that. And we're always here to answer any questions.
Yeah, Dave, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, buddy. You've been great.
I've been happy to be here. Thank you very much. I appreciate the partnership. And again, if you guys have any questions for me or anything else, I'll be happy to share my story on a personal level with anybody you send my way.
That's great. Enjoy that Arizona heat, by the way.
Yeah, we're trying to stay dry with this 8% humidity. My gosh, vacation. I had 60%, came back to 8, and I went, oh my gosh, my skin.
There you go.
All right, buddy. We appreciate you, man.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
great
We
one.
appreciate your time.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.